very difficult for people to feel they can make a difference. And individually, you possibly can't. But when you join something that shares your passion, your interest, you want to be involved with, that can carry that whole thing along. And you can see that by doing that, you make a difference. And as soon as you start to make that difference, it's a positive momentum. And it's something a lot of young people feel, I think, very much a loss. And they think to themselves, I'm very passionate about this, and where do I go with it? Well, join with others of like mind. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but that's healthy, that's good. You're challenging each other. But at the same time, it means that you do feel empowered. You feel you have a voice. You feel that you've got others that will work with you. And all of those things. And it comes to the Isle of Man as well, because the Isle of Man, little old island, what can that do? Well, actually, we can do a lot of things. And we can use, Leigh mentioned earlier, biosphere. We're talking about what we can do in our own strategic direction and everything else. All of these things help to make that difference. And it is powerful, and people should not be put off by the immense issues that we face.
So in reality then, what do you think are the differences that we can make?
We can do it on so many different levels. Clearly, as individuals, if we do some simple little things, you don't have to wear a hair shirt or start to, go backwards, because very often conservation is looked at as, it's keeping things in aspect. No, it isn't. It's about actually restoring. It's about working with nature. It's about feeling a part of it. It's enjoyment. Some of that's come out over the last year, and I'm very aware that we could lose that focus. We need to keep it going and keep that interest. And organisations like the Manx Wildlife Trust are there to help people to do that. So this is where our engagement is. This is where that whole interest lies.
So going forward then, as we're towards the end of this year, and Leigh, you've been telling us about some of the stuff that's been going on. Now heading forward, and obviously you're here today as the current chair at Viv, but NWT now looking for new volunteer members for both the Council of Trustees and strategic committees. Perhaps briefly someone could explain the difference between those two. So are they separate roles?
Well, if I kick off with that, I think, yes, they are. The Council of Trustees is that body that's responsible for the strategic direction. It's responsible for its financial status, making sure that we keep within what we need to spend and look after the finances. And it also, very importantly, gives direction to Leigh and the team and the volunteers and everybody else that's working within the trust. So it has that governance role. The committees actually have a specific direction to do certain things. So, for example, we have a biodiversity impact committee. Now, that's a new one, but it is saying we have to have impact. And what we're talking about all the time now is making sure that things happen. We haven't got time to wait for things to happen. So each one of those committees has got its own role and its own direction, and within that it can have groups that will do particular tasks, and they can be done and dusted, or they can continue. So they're more active, interrelated with what the staff are doing, what the volunteers are doing, whereas governance is the council which steps back a little bit from it, if that all makes sense.
So for someone who might be interested in either of these roles then, what sort of time and energy are we asking people to put into this?
That is an extremely difficult one, because really it's down to the individual to some extent. We need that enthusiasm, we need that passion, we need that commitment. But some people can give an awful lot coming to 4 council meetings a year, taking part in it and actually delivering all sorts of... We need challenges in there. Are we doing enough? No, we're not doing enough, etc. Other people, we would like to be there doing both those council meetings, making sure they're involved in that governance structure, challenging, but equally perhaps chairing one of the committees, perhaps being involved with a group, actually going out and doing some of the work, and again supporting Leigh and the staff.
So are we looking then, either Leigh or Viv, for any specific skill sets, any sort of particular skill sets people want to bring to the party, or you'd like people to bring to the party?
We are, But we'd also be interested to hear from anyone really that thinks they've got something to offer. But in terms of specifics, we are a charity. You know, every penny we get, we hopefully invest in. We don't give it to shareholders. We invest it back in doing good things for Manx nature. So we'd like to look at the way we operate our, if you like, our more organisational business sides of it. Can we do that better? Can we actually do our fundraising better? Can we engage with people better? How do we get more corporates to back us? You know, there's a lot of corporates in the island. You know, CSR is important. How do we actually get corporates to back us and help us deliver that? I mean, imagine, you know, we've got many of the listeners, I'm sure, will know Dawn Dickens, that has probably educated so many people in the island about, you know, the fantastic natural environment. But imagine if we had funding for 2 Dawns or 3 Dawns. We could fill Dawn up for 3 weeks a week on demand from the schools. And if you then bring into the fact, you know, potential partnerships with the farmers and suddenly trying to get all the young people, then you start bringing just in education alone. Imagine if we had more land for nature. So there's a huge amount of potential for Manx Wildlife Trust to do more for the island, for the long-term sustainability of the island, to nail the biosphere, to grow it. And we need to be sharp in what we do. We have to prioritise. We can't do everything. So that sort of business organisational minds, we absolutely want to come to the party. We're also interested to hear from ecologists. You know, we have some great ecologists in our team: Andre, Tricia, Sarah, Lara, some fantastic ecologists. But we need other ones. They need to be sense checked. They need new ideas. So there's really almost the answer is we could look at any sort of skills. But I hope that gives a flavour of it.
The $1,000,000 question, I suppose, then anyone listening thinking, you know what, I might be interested in getting involved. How do they go about that?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think the first thing we say is reach out to us. Mm-hmm. You're not signing the dotted line straight away. If you've got any queries, if you're even slightly interested and think you might have something to offer, I've already spoke to people who I know would be absolutely fantastic, but they're being quite humble, or maybe don't think that they have something to offer, or don't think that their skills are very wildlife conservation based. I was a trustee of the Marine Conservation Society for years, and when I went for the interview, I remember asking the question, I said humbly, I'm not a marine biologist, and they looked at me and they said, we've got 100 of those. We don't need another one. We need you to do this, this and this. So on that basis, please just reach out. You can have a chat. You can, on our website, on the homepage, you'll find the details. There's a broad role descriptor. You can contact either me and Viv for an informal conversation. Absolutely would be delighted to answer any questions, give you that background. And then if we've kept the gate open, so to speak, till the 31st of January. We've cast the net wide and long, and we hope to catch lots of potential fish that are interested. So reach out, have a chat with us, and start the connection. And even if you don't apply, I can't undersell enough the value of more people connecting to us.
Yeah, so sold it there. Absolutely brilliant.
It is
several people already, and exactly as Leigh says, sometimes it is really perhaps the question you asked before: how much time do I have to put in? Mm-hmm. How much time do I want to commit? Have that chat.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's no commitment, and frankly, it may be that you don't want to come onto council or be on a committee, but hey, there may be something else that you can do to support us.
And just finally, briefly, what would you say to anyone who is thinking about it, as someone who's been involved for some time in the chair now? What would you say to someone thinking, I don't know, is it me?
I think it's most people, because all of us love our environment. We all want to breathe fresh air. We all want to see our seas full of life. All of us actually relate to it. To what degree is really what it's about. So there are lots of different things. Some people come and help work in our shop in Peel. They're doing fantastic work to help support us in funding. So the whole skill set is out there. I think most people, by giving, will get something back. And I think by enjoying with others, it's a huge boost.